What's up, guys? Boy, am I glad Great League is back. I've got another video for you guys today, and I've got another one coming right up as well. Everything that I've been touching has been hitting recently. I'm on a hot streak, so we have yet another triple bird team. I don't know if you guys remember the last one. This one plays a little bit differently with quite a few different weaknesses. The only similarity here is we've got Mandibuzz back in the safe swap position. Huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. As always, that link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for your support. And let's get right into this gameplay video. So let's talk about, while the first game is rolling again, let's talk about a little bit about this team and how it was built and how it works. So the goal here was, one of my Patreon supporters asked me to try and formulate a team with Altaria as a closer without using Vigoroth as a lead. So the goal here was to start with Altaria. I figured out probably the best safe swap for Altaria is Mandibuzz. It's another flyer that is also weak to Charm, that can really bring out those fairy types, and Azumarill. Well, Azumarill is a fairy type, I guess, just not a charmer. So that Altaria can sweep. But the real trouble was trying to find Pokemon that covers all of Altaria's weaknesses. Altaria has some very strong matchups and some very bad ones, namely Bastion, G-Fisk, Azumarill, Charmers, all that kind of stuff. So went through a lot of different options and finally realized, hey, it looks like Empoleon is probably the best option here for Altaria. Pokemon that beats Azu as it resists all its moves. It beats G-Fisk, it beats Bastiodon, it beats Charmers, it's got a steel type. It seems like the perfect fit. So let's go, let's run some Empoleon. I love the Penguin. After figuring this out, turns out I had remembered there's another streamer slash content creator, Bloody Bananas, amazing player as well. Actually runs Empoleon and Altaria as a core in Great League. I didn't realize, I had forgotten. I've played him a bunch, right? But I forgot that he also had Altaria on the team. I know his Penguin is I guess mainly what he's used for, and he uses Mew as a safe switch instead. So once again, kind of independently coming to a very similar team as another content creator, and that's always a good sign. And you'll see from these games that it is a very good sign indeed. This team absolutely stomped, I would say. So let's talk about how this team works. It's your standard ABB team, right? So Empoleon lead, you want to swap out in any sort of neutral or bad matchup into Mandibuzz. Maybe the only Pokemon that really will give you a tough time, or type of Pokemon that'll give you a tough time, are those electric leads, because you can't really stay in and you can't really switch to Mandibuzz. So it puts you in a little bit of a tough scenario. Hopefully the Galv leads stay away if you're trying this team. It's really only the electric type. I think maybe Unova and Stunfisk as well, but at least it takes super effective damage from Empoleon, and mud shots don't hurt Mandibuzz at all, so it's much easier to deal with than Galv. But let's look at some gameplay here. We've got the Venusaur versus Empoleon matchup. This is awful. Let's get out of there, right? Right to the Mandibuzz, and in comes Mew. This is how powerful this team is. I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, I think my opponent misclicked either the Pokemon they wanted to switch in, or they realized their entire team was hard countered by Mandibuzz, which is honestly not that uncommon of an occurrence. Mandibuzz is a Pokemon that not a lot of people are taking into account when team building right now. Okay, so we have a Unova and Stunfisk. I make a play to catch a Mud Bomb here onto Mandibuzz, but that still leaves us in a pretty rough position, right? Because Mandibuzz is not the greatest to Unova and Stunfisk. Luckily, they do switch out. So let's get rid of this Ice type while we're at it. And this is why you kind of even switch, even if Mandibuzz is not good, because then they have to make a really tough decision. Do I stay in with my Unova and Stunfisk and beat the Mandibuzz, but then I have nothing for Empoleon, or do I switch in this Ice type and remove that Ice type for Altaria, right? So you kind of put them in a no-win situation. So software update is ready to install. Okay, I'm so tired of that notification. I think it's gone now. It'll be gone in the last half of this video. And I'm just throwing drill packs, trying to get some shields. This Abomasnow is a very big threat to my Altaria, but at the same time, I know that they still have that Unova and Stunfisk in the back, so my Empoleon's not going to get a great matchup anyways, and they're going to swap into Skarmory. So Skarmory versus Altaria, let's talk a little bit about this. This matchup is pretty neutral. In the one shield, Skarmory wins, but the more shields you add, the better Altaria does, and that's because the Dragon Breath really just ticks down. These one-turn fast moves are a bit OP in Great League, so take full advantage of that and just take down this Skarmory. So I'll end up double shielding here because I realize they've got Unova and Stunfisk in the back. and I throw a Sky Attack. So a little bit of a misplay for me. I really should have thrown the Dragon Pulse instead, as it would deal quite a bit more damage, and we're going to have some pretty terrible lag. But that's just the servers nowadays, right? So because of this lag, I am forced to make an extremely good play. I think this was a very standard game otherwise. I'd just be able to farm that Stunfisk down and then come in and just bomb that Skarmory with Sky Attacks. Instead, I'm forced to make a catch to attempt to save this game, and I'm not going to even be able to do that because of the free 5 Mudshots that they got there. So had to make the play and still could not win, unfortunately. So that was a bit of a sad one because I do feel like I could have won that one. But either way, it still resulted in a positive set despite all the lag. We have another bad lead. This is another bad lead. I'm gonna swap into into Mandibuzz. So this is exactly what you want to see here. The Galarian Stunfisk coming out, and the best part about Mandibuzz is that Mandibuzz really stops this Galarian Stunfisk from being able to farm you down, right? So if you were to bring in a different flying type, like let's say a Noctowl or a Skarmory or something, this Galarian Stunfisk could end with a ton of energy. But the Mandibuzz Galarian Stunfisk matchup is actually very close. You can actually even not force, but you can win switchback a decent amount of the time. And I'm not sure, I think that's what I do in this video. So we'll see. I throw a foul play. I've been letting Rock Slides go, and they can't take another foul play. And at this point, the Snarls are taking them down as well. I decide to go for the shield. And this is the power here, right? Mudshot does almost no damage to you because you double resist it. But these Snarls, they kind of tickle. They tickle away. And by spending this last shield here, assuming they let the first 2 foul plays through, or 3 foul plays through, I can actually farm down and win switch advantage. So they're going to come back with Tropius. So I'll be able to soften it up a little bit. And yeah, this Aerial Ice will hurt. Hopefully I can get a shield instead, but they're not willing to bite. And they actually farm me all the way down. That's not too big of a deal because Altaria does not care too much for Leaf Blades or for Aerial Aces. And they're going to switch into Pelipper. So I switch into Empoleon here just because it's a decent matchup. You can't really get farmed down by the Pelipper. So really I'm just trying to use my Empoleon up so that my Altaria is back versus that Tropius in as even as a matchup as possible. And at this point, once they let the Drill Peck through, it's essentially over because I can just farm them down with Altaria. I let that entire thing go through, but it doesn't matter, they shield anyways. And I think they were just trying to farm all the way down and hopefully get to a Hurricane for my Altaria, but it doesn't work like that in these matchups. Like, even though they're slightly unfavored, they're not unfavored enough that my opponent can take advantage of them, and that's the important part. So we're going to see another bad lead. This is, I think, either the 4th or 5th bad lead this set. So just, we're going to show off how ABE teams can come back from a disadvantage. And I swap a Mandibuzz, and once again, does not look like they have any good answer for Mandibuzz. So they come with Skarmory. I'm fine no shielding here. I do want to win switch advantage so that my my Empoleon can stay away from the Medicham. I can bring in Altaria as well. But the problem is, I can't spend too many shields. Because if I spend too many shields, then Altaria loses to loaded Medicham if it farms up some Ice Punches. So what I'm trying to do here is undercharge a little bit so that I can farm down this Skarmory. But I'm going to beat it to a foul play, so we'll see if they want to shield. They actually do. And I have to make a tough decision here. I decide to actually let this go and come in, and because I need to save that shield for my Altaria. So they're going to come back in with Medicham, and I'm going to go straight into my Altaria and another Pelipper in the back. So, good thing I saved my shields. My Empoleon isn't going to be very useful this game. But that's the way it is. I don't think that they actually made it to a Hurricane, so I'm just going to no shields. But it seems like they actually could have made it to a Hurricane because 2 Weather Balls is the same energy, and they'll throw there. But the thing is, Medicham isn't going to KO Altaria with anything but Ice Punches. So I actually don't mind being this low HP. Even if they had thrown the Hurricane, I might have been or might have had some issues. But this Medicham's just going to get to an Ice Punch here to take out Altaria, but it is not hard enough of a counter for Empoleon for this to be an issue. So we're going to take out that Medicham too, either 4 or 5 bad leads and about 4 wins and 1 lag game, or is it 3 wins and 1 potential win? I hate leaving these lagging videos in because it makes me upset every time I rewatch them. But I'm going to see another bad lead. Let's get a bad lead counter going. I don't remember playing this many bad leads, but here we are. And once again, the swap into Mandibuzz is something that Mandibuzz can actually really deal with. The only thing that Mandibuzz can't really deal with is the fairy types, just because they not only resist dark but can hit back super effectively. So resisting dark is pretty big because then you have to throw aerial ace. But in this case, even this goon takes a decent amount of damage from these aerial aces, and I'm able to get this final aerial ace off just to win switchback, which is kind of important for this game as well. Deoxys Defense much worse against Altaria than Empoleon, and that's because Deoxys Defense, very defense weighted, doesn't actually have that much HP. So these Dragon Breaths really tick it down, being the one turn fast move that they are, and they just Psycho Boost and get out of there into Vigoroth. So at this point, I've realized it's a triple counter team. This is the team I created, and I'm in a very tough situation. Empoleon doesn't have any play versus this entire team. So right off the bat, even switching out of that Deoxys matchup, I'm in a bit of trouble, and they know it. So with 2 shields up, Deoxys versus Altaria, if Deoxys has a little bit of an energy advantage, it's actually not that good of a matchup. So we'll see. They're even throwing Thunderbolts instead of Rock Slides. And these counters just, they hurt. And eventually I'm going to be in Psycho Boost range, which is exactly what they want. I have to shield with Thunderbolt still. And we'll see that Altaria doesn't quite get to that next Sky Attack. And I probably actually actively hurt my chances by throwing Sky Attacks at all. If I had not thrown any Sky Attacks, I probably still would have lost. But would have got two extra, or 2 less counters in, a couple extra Dragon Breaths in. Maybe that would have been the difference. But who knows? So tough lead and tough team comp there to beat. And that's what the triple counter team does. That's just what it does. So we see Shiftry lead, Shadow Shiftry, I believe. Pretty rare. But we see a Sableye counter swap to Mandibuzz. This is not a Mandibuzz counter. Honestly, I don't know if this was a misclick or if it's just nobody has counters to Mandibuzz anymore. And I'm down to just let this through because Mandibuzz will win anyways, and they try to bait me instead of going for the return. So this just means I don't have to shield anything. I do decide to shield. I think I shield the next one because at this point I'm having an internal conversation about why did they swap in Sableye? Is this literally their best Mandibuzz counter? So I farm up a little bit more, and they 2-shielded it, right? So if that's the case, then that's probably actually their best Mandibuzz counter, and they come back out with Shiftry. So as soon as they come back out with Shiftry, that's when I realized, hey, this game is looking pretty good for Mandibuzz, and therefore Altaria. So because my Switch is having such a good time, I am fine letting it go down and just coming in with this Altaria instead. Just because it should also have a pretty good matchup against whatever else is in the back. And yeah, it's Alolan Marowak, right? So Alolan Marowak, that's the best part about this team. Crushes Alolan Marowak. I hate seeing this little goat around. This fire spinning. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Canadians aren't good at trash talk. But Alolan Marowak, no play against this team. So feels pretty good. Feels pretty good to just keep that out of there, ever since it's been ruining my poor little Shadow Victory Bell teams in Season 1. But yeah, fantastic that Alolan Marowak's in the back end. There's no way we're going to lose that game. So kind of a bit of the opposite from the last game where I had a Pokemon that had no play versus any of their 3. This time they have a Pokemon that has no play versus any of my 3. And Empoleon is also just not a Pokemon that people are ready for at all. So let's take a look here. Stunfisk lead, finally get a good lead. So our bad lead streak of 7, I think, was broken. And they swapped into Azu. So this is a very, very challenging situation. my Empoleon is my best answer to both of these Pokemon. I have to keep this Empoleon alive, and I no shield the first one, and which is Hydro Pump, which is worst case scenario for Empoleon for them to be running Hydro Pump. But Empoleon can still deal quite a bit of damage. I think I'm forced to shield here, which is fine, because I can farm all the way down now, and then they go into Sableye. So them switching out here is pretty good. I switch immediately into my Altaria, even though Mandibuzz is the better counter, right? Because I need my Mandibuzz to deal with that Galarian Stunfisk later. As we saw earlier, it's actually a pretty close matchup with a little bit of waterfall damage. Guess what? You can win that now. So my goal here, I'm not going to shield anything. They can shield my Sky Attacks. I don't care. I want to let my Altaria go down. It's useless against their other two Pokemon anyways, and that's the entire point. And at this point, the farm begins. So notice the Sableye is purified. That means it doesn't have Power Gem. You kind of have to watch out for that as Mandibuzz. So Snarl Down is in full effect, and I'm almost certain, well, whatever comes in is going to be a Mandibuzz counter anyways. They're going to come with the G-Fist, so this is exactly what I want to see on the Mandibuzz. And I'm just going to be able to pepper this thing with Foul Place. We both have one shield. And my Empoleon, I believe, has quite a bit of energy. So I'm sitting in a pretty comfortable position. Even if they do take this this Mandibuzz down, I have a move and a little bit on my Empoleon to deal with it. So I think I actually no-shield this, which in hindsight was a terrible mistake because I over-tap a little bit and throw the Hydro Cannon, they catch it. So instead, I'm going to lose this absolutely winnable game because I misplayed a little bit. So just goes to show even the smallest mistakes in GBL, they can flip a win from a win to a loss, and that's why every little thing matters. So while I do think I had that game in the bag, especially that's a very hard game with a Stunfisk lead into an Azu safe switch, just because they're both Pokemon that beat my backline. Still able to win that. Sorry, able to win that. I didn't win it, but I was able to. In this case, they stay in with the Galarian Stunfisk. I throw my Hydro Cannon and shield up what is probably, or what could have been an Earthquake, but obviously it's not. And I guess they were at 9. Because I tried to catch there, but they only threw 4 into their next move. At this point, I switch into my Mandibuzz. I was a little bit on tilt playing this game after just losing the last one. Instead of just taking that Stunfisk down with my Empoleon, I like to swap because switching allows my Mandibuzz to get a head start on energy, and I'm going to be switching anyways, right? It's an ABB team. So Skarmory comes in, and this is great. Remove the Skarmory for the Altaria because the shield's down. Shields are down, right? So Altaria has much harder time with this. But I'm going to be able to get the shield back or just take out the Skarmory, which is nice as well. Yeah, Mandibuzz versus Skarmory is nowhere near as good as people think. In this case, I just throw up to, go up to a Foul Play. Oh, I go on pass to Fast Move Deny. Throw the Foul Play, I'm going to get out of here. I don't want this Ferrothorn to be farming up Flash Cannons or something like that against my Altaria. That's my only lose condition there. So we're just going to pepper him with Dragon Breaths and take the Thunder. So Thunder a little bit better for Altaria than Flash Cannon, and they're just going to GG out there. That's what happens when you have a good lead with this team. It's incredibly hard to come back versus that. All right, so let's get into this next game here. Let's see what we have as our lead. Do we continue the good lead streak? Looks like we do. So Empoleon versus Skarmory. This is pretty good for Empoleon. It's not like the best thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world either. But they are building up to Brave Bird, so you got to be careful for that. Brave Bird hits really hard. So I actually will shield to preserve the health of my lead. It's an ABB team. You want to preserve the health of your lead a little bit. And they're going to come with Cresselia, so I stay in for a bit. Throw a Hydro Cannon while I debate what to switch into. Cress is a bit of a tough one, because while Mandibuzz can throw super effective Foul Place, Moonblast really, really hurts, right? So I do switch into Mandibuzz and they quit. So I won't actually get to learn how much damage a Moonblast does to Mandibuzz. But obviously it is not enough if they are willing to just leave there. So we're able to get another positive set there, despite some poor play. Like, this very easily could have been a 4 set as well. And then we get to some games that I actually played today. So these are on 2 different days, splitting them up. But they're back-to-back. Like, those were my last sets of yesterday, and these are my first sets of today. So I'm not just picking and choosing sets, guys. If I was, I wouldn't be showing all these awful losses. I would definitely not have shown that lag game either. So we see Azu, this one does not have Hydro Pump, which is something I actually, if they had built up to Hydro Pump, I would have considered shielding once. They just have Play Rough. In this case, I'm just going to throw Drill Picks and try and eliminate this Azu so that my backline can kind of go ham. In this case, I do have to consider shielding again, and I do. So I will just attempt to farm down. No, I won't, because I can't make it there. If it was just an Ice Beam, I can take an Ice Beam, but a Play Rough, it's a bit too hard. They're going to come with Ferrothorn, so I'm not sure if someone made a Ferrothorn video or something, but 2 Ferrothorns pretty recently. I don't know if it's a trend. I'm going to see Thunder, so Thunder hits pretty hard, yes, but I don't think it's worth using a shield on Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz essentially is your 3rd shield. Why would you shield a shield, right? But we're just going to keep throwing these foul plays. These Bullet Seeds do nothing. It's really just the Thunders you have to worry about. And we'll see if this Thunder is enough to KO. It's going to be very close. I don't think it KOs. Very close, though. So I just got to make sure I don't overtap there and throw out this foul play as well. Because having a Ferrothorn at that HP is much more comfortable for Altaria to come in and farm it down without taking any damage. So we're just going to do just that. And by not taking any damage, I mean a Power Whip, which is... Wait, they're actually Thunder? Okay, yeah. Which still isn't that much. So in comes Alolan Marowak. I kind of just switch into my Empoleon to absorb some of its energy. That's fine. My Empoleon is essentially worthless versus the Ferrothorn, right? So I'm kind of just sacking it. I'm not attempting to catch. I'm just... He's going to have to throw energy. He can't farm down Empoleon. He can't afford to take that damage. So I'll shield out the Shadow Bone. Good on my opponent for not baiting. Baiting leaves them 0 win condition. Throwing Shadow Bone leaves them the win condition of me not shielding, thinking it's a bait. And we're just going to win that game. Nice and straightforward win right there. That was a 1 lead as well. So we'll see what we get into with this next game. The bird set bonus has been working out excellently so far. Swampert lead. This is pretty good for the entire team, honestly. So I do have... I've been switching how I play this one every once in a while. Because Great League Swamperts don't run Earthquake, so you don't have to worry about that. I can take a shield and then take a Hydro Cannon back and then switch into Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz doesn't appreciate Hydro Cannons either, but in all likelihood, they switch out into something else. Usually they're Skarmory. And then you have your Altaria for the Swampert later. And Altaria loves Swampert. It's free food for Altaria. And especially these these Swampert Skarmory cores, most of the time Skarmory is like their main Altaria answer, and it's not even really that good of an answer. So if you see that Swampert lead, it's generally pretty comfortable. And at this point, Mandibuzz, even with that health deficit due to taking a Hydro Cannon, is able to win, like get shields back. And we're up 2 shields to 0. So I decided to spend a shield, just a Sky Attack, but you don't feel bad spending shields when you have that many. And I'm just going to spend another one, I think. Because that move on Empoleon is very important. Hydro Cannon hits incredibly hard. I could have switched, but I'd rather just take out this Swampert as is so we can see what's in the back so I can start formulating a decision. And good thing I kept my Altaria alive. Toxicroak in the back. It's not something Empoleon wants to see. Yeah. Even though birds are Toad's natural enemies, it's not how Pokemon works. We have Deoxys lead once again. Not a great lead. Switch into Mandibuzz, and oh god, I don't even... So this game is a team that you absolutely cannot beat. I think we've seen a lot of games where I've lost so far, or not too many games. I haven't lost too many games so far, but the ones that I have lost, they've all been kind of winnable. Either lost due to lag, lost due to misplay, lost due to my opponent playing very well. This team comp is one that you will not be able to beat, and maybe one that you're kind of familiar with. This is Deoxys Defense, Double Charm. Really anything double charm, you're not going to win. Because anything double charm, it's usually something that beats Empoleon. They're usually counter users as the lead or Snorlax. And it's just not something you can really deal with. So even after taking out those really tough, look how much damage those charms have done. The charms have really added up. And Empoleon is too low to deal with another charmer, which here we are. Honestly, I think the best solution to Deoxys double charm for this team would have been to hit the top left exit button. But I just wanted to see if I could pivot this into a win somehow. But no, it's not the case. I want to see how much damage a Weather Ball did to me at the end. So we'll get into the next game, and hopefully we stay away from those double charm teams with this one, because honestly, not winnable. This is not winnable. The backline is too weak to charm, and we have a Hypno lead. So honestly, this is a lead I probably should have swapped out right away. But this was my first time facing a Hypno lead, and after throwing that first move, it's hard switching out into a loaded Hypno. So once it has this Thunder Punch, it's kind of tough. Well, that's why it took me so long to switch. I was really waiting for them to throw a move against Empoleon, but throwing the Thunder Punch there is no good either, right? So they're going to come with Umbreon. This is probably the most boring mirror match of all time. At least this Umbreon has Last Resort, so we're hitting for neutral damage. But the goal here, right, is to just deal as much damage to this Umbreon and hopefully force it to spend as much of its energy as possible. And remember that there's a Hypno in the lead, so it's decently neutral matchups all the way around for my other two Pokemon. It's kind of just, we have to figure out what's in the back, right? So let's do a little bit of team reading here. We have a Hypno lead, we have an Umbreon switch. That's starting to sound a lot like Verg's team, right? Or a team that I also similarly made, except with a Shiftry switch. So I'm expecting a Scrafty in the back. So all my play from here on forward is expecting Scrafty in the back. I really want to line up my Altaria versus Scrafty. That's the entire point of this. Empoleon versus Scrafty is no good. But the problem is I can't force them switch advantage. So they come back in with Hypno, and at that point, I should have stayed in. But that's not Scrafty. So interesting team building. They took a content creator team and then just changed the last Pokemon. And it's Shadow Skarmory. This is a little spicy, but you can see how much damage these Dragon Breaths do to Shadow Skarmory. But yeah, the goal here, I've realized Empoleon can beat Hypno with 2 shields. Empoleon can beat Skarmory. I don't need my Altaria. I honestly probably should have just let their Skarmory take me down so they don't get that extra energy on their Hypno. But it's not going to matter. I have too many shields, 2 shields remaining. Don't even need to throw a move here, I don't think. Or did I lose this game? No, I don't think I need to throw a move here. Now we're just going to take down this Hypno with Waterfalls. So pretty straightforward game, but it would have been a lot easier if I had read the proper team. It just didn't really make a lot of sense for Skarmory to be in the back there. Team building wise, and that's, I don't know. It is what it is. Obstagoon lead. This is awful. I was really scared it was going to be Obstagoon double charm, but we were going to get out to Mandibuzz. And they're stinging, which makes me think this is a cross shot, but they actually throw Night Slash and get the boost and then switch. So really unfortunate for my opponent there. Not only did they switch with the boost, they've given my Mandibuzz an energy lead so that it can easily take out the Swampert without spending too many shields, hopefully here. I actually got a little bit greedy, I think, later on, farming up. Sorry. And they're spending shields, right? They really want switch here. They really want Obstagoon versus Empoleon. So I actually shield as well. And I get really greedy. And decide to not shield this one. See if I live, which I do. And have 2 foul plays. So even if the Swampert wants to shield, win back switch, it can't. And Obstagoon comes back in, so we're going to hit it with an Aerial Ace. This is kind of important because the Obstagoon Altaria matchup isn't even that good. Especially if Obstagoon gets the boost again. So we're just hoping it doesn't. So against boost Pokemon, don't shield the first one, right? Don't shield until you have to, because if they get the boost, you're going to really regret it. And they're going to once again get to another Night Slash. We're not going to see if it's a boost because it's CMP tie, but they shield anyways. and they're going to throw yet another Night Slash. So I really do consider shielding this one, but I decide to let Empoleon take care of whatever's in the back, and it was almost a very bad mistake because the Shadow Victory Bell, yeah, we're just going to Drill Peck that and get rid of it. So luckily shields are down. If shields aren't down, you can't make that play. So shielding their Obstagoon almost potentially actually lost them the game. We're going to win 4-5 there, I think. I think it was just 4. Yeah, double charm team. Couldn't beat it. But yet another positive set. I don't think I had a single negative set while playing this team. Just slowly chugging on and up, collecting those Pokemon rewards, which are actually pretty good this season. Guaranteed XLs, I think. Got Galvantulas. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff. So I make this switch into Mandibuzz, and I take a look, and this Sableye has a hat on. This means, guess what? Power Gem. That really hurts. It means that I probably won't be able to farm down the Sableye. In fact, I'm probably just going to have to start throwing right away, because I can't risk taking another Power Gem here. And they're just going to let it go down, and Azu comes in. So this is what we want to see, right? We want to see the Azu come in so that Empoleon can take it down later. Obviously, Empoleon doesn't do a ton of damage. It's not like it's going to be one-shotting Azu, so these aerial aces really help. These really add up. You want to be doing as much damage as you can here. No shielding, obviously, and then going back in with your Empoleon. I wait the switch timer, because I think it's a bit out of sync. Because I was a little bit slow, but not out of sync enough for them to do anything about it. I'm gonna shield this first one because they did build up to a Hydro Pump, so you have to respect it. And successfully shield a Hydro Pump, and that is not game, but it puts me in a much more comfortable position. So I'm going to hit them with another Drill Peck before they get to another Hydro Pump and see if they want to shield. They don't, so a lot of energy wasted, and they're just going to come with Marowak, and yeah, that game's over. They don't even realize they have an Altaria in the back, which absolutely crushes Marowak as well. Especially like a half health Marowak before it takes down the Empoleon. Yeah. That's just the power of this team. You're just going to beat all those AWAC teams. You don't like AWAC? Play this team. Alright, so we see a Cresselia in the lead. Once again, this is a tough lead, but I learned from my mistake last time. I switched right away. I don't want to mess around and try and catch a Grass Knot or something like that. I failed last time. And the Moonblast really hurt if you do fail. So we're just going to switch. Defist comes in. This is a pretty standard matchup, like we've seen before, right? They can't farm you down, which is great. You can win back switch, but generally that requires you spending both shields. And versus Cresselia, I don't think I want to be spending both shields. Shields down, Cresselia probably beats this entire team. So the Moonblast just hurts, Grass Knot hurts Empoleon. Empoleon is just very squishy too, but we're just going to let Mandibuzz go down here. This is just more farm for Empoleon. And they get to a Rock Slide. Obviously not an Earthquake, so I'm not going to shield it. It doesn't do any damage. And in comes Cress again. I now have a shield advantage from the Stunfisk versus Mandibuzz matchup, if you'll notice. So honestly, great draw out for the Galarian Stunfisk. And once again, I try and catch Grass Knot. I just can't do it. I don't know the count for Grass Knot, so I'm just going off of feel, and it's obviously not working. And they're gonna come with Scrafty, so exactly what you want to see here. Interesting team. I actually like this team a lot. But like I said, not gonna have to shield Altaria. They're gonna foul play. That's fine. Just want to take down this Scrafty, save my shield for Cress. Throw Dragon Breath and throw my move. And they decide to shield to play it out. I think I actually test to see how much damage a Moonblast does here. Yeah, and it does a lot of damage, so that's how much damage a Moonblast does. I could have shielded and just went for the Sky Attack, but knowledge is power, right? So that's why in these games, a lot of the time I'm just not spending my shield at the end if I know I have the guaranteed win already. I just want to get that information for later. Apply it to a future matchup. Galv lead. So this is a really, really hard lead. I'm still unsure how to play it. I stayed in this one and don't get my waterfall through. So Gal's really squishy. Look how much damage these waterfalls are doing. It's worth it to stay in a little bit. But at the same time, I'm at risk of being farmed all the way down. So I do have to switch. I just trade shields and switch into Mandibuzz. This time I don't shield. And they give me the discharge. So I'm guessing everything wrong this game. Which kind of sucks. And they come with Azu. So this is just not looking great right now, right? Galv lead is probably the worst lead for this team possible. And Azu in the back. You don't like to see it. So this Azu comes out. And I'm just going to hit it with a barrage of aerial aces. Try and take it a little bit below half health. But I'm not going to quite make it there. They throw their energy. But since it's trapped, I'm going to have to come back in with Empoleon. And try and take down this Azu. Before it can reach my Altaria. Fortunately, I let through that play rough. I thought it was an Ice Beam for sure. But I miscounted. And now Altaria has a really tough job. And they actually come with Spider. So I had no win condition there. Until they switched into their Galvantula to try and debuff me. So now I have a full Sky Attack. And guess what? It's a Pokemon in the back that Altaria loves to see. I'm not sure why they didn't bring in their Azu back in. But they're bringing the Scrafty, and I'm able to keep enough energy that I will be able to get to 2 Sky Attacks versus Azu, and we'll see if that's going to be enough to take it out. I throw 2 Dragon Breaths, so they only get 1 bubble there. And then throw an optimal timing as well with a Sky Attack. And drumroll please, it's not enough. So still lose this game. It is what it is. But my opponent tried their best to give it back to me. But like I said, Galv lead is very hard, and then into the Azu switch-in is kind of what sealed the deal there. I think in hindsight, maybe even letting Empoleon go down and then coming with Altaria is the play, but if there's an Azu in the back, you still lose. Swampert lead, much better lead. So I've been playing this the same way. Let's take the Hydro Cannon on Empoleon, and I'm throwing my charge move to get a shield. It's almost a guaranteed shield here. Swampert's never no shield this. Going with the Mandibuzz, so now we have a shield advantage. Sure, they might throw Hydro Cannon. That's fine. Mandibuzz is tanky, his 3rd shield activated, and they actually elect to stay in. So as soon as they elect to stay in, I've realized, hey, this is going to be a great game for Altaria. I can already feel it. I kind of regret switching out of the Empoleon at this point, but it is a Skarmory. So we see Skarmory come back in, and I think their attempt here is to come in and just eliminate the Mandibuzz. But now switch timers are a bit out of sync, so I can come in right away with this Empoleon, and somehow I lose CMP to Skarmory. So I'm not sure if there's some desync there, but that's really unfortunate. I'm speechless. Like, I would have gotten to save a shield. This game would have been in a much better situation had the game actually been working properly. So I go all the way up to Hydro Cannon here. In hindsight, I should have switched right away. There is no way I should have stayed in, because now they're in Icy Wind. Altaria can survive 1. This is double super effective, by the way. But Icy Wind is a weakish move. Drifblim is pretty weak too. And Altaria is quite tanky. So because I swapped so late, I have to take that second Icy Wind before I even get to a Sky Attack. And once again, they throw back in the Swampert. And I go for the Sky Attack here, because I think I can make it to the second one. And I do barely. So in hindsight, throwing the Dragon Pulse, probably a better idea. It does more damage, not damage per energy, more damage. So if you can only throw 1 move, Dragon Pulse is better. In this case, throwing Dragon Pulse would have kind of saved me a heart attack, I think. Give me a little bit of that. Yeah, probably a couple of years on my life if I had just thrown the Dragon Pulse instead. So Galv lead. You know what? I said this was a hard lead. Let's see if we can do it this time. Change up the strategy. No more staying in. We're going right into Mandibuzz. What do you want to do, Galv? Are you going to shield these foul plays? Are you going to lunge? Are you going to discharge? I'm trying to make this a really tough decision for this Galv. I want to kind of make them choose to stay in and lose their Empoleon counter, or do they want to take down the Mandibuzz? And they spent both shields. They want to take down the Mandibuzz, so I respect that. Unfortunately, only 3 charge moves were thrown. I gotta wait down the switch timer and go in with Altaria. Altaria, really good matchup versus Galv. This is the kind of Pokemon or Galva's the Pokemon you want to see if you're Altaria. I decide to save my shields here. We're going all in on the Empoleon, and they come in with Diggersby. So Diggersby, really, really good matchup for Altaria. I switch out of this though, because even though Altaria is a better matchup versus Diggersby, I am debuffed once, and Empoleon is a bit weak to Spider. So they throw Earthquake, and I throw my Hydro Cannon before they get to another punch, and I'm able to take down their Galv, switch in before they get to another move, and it's Politoed in the back. So love to see it. The only win condition here is them maybe Mudshotting all the way down. So they actually go for it. So you have to respect this. This is their play, and then landing a Blizzard or something on Altaria. So yeah, that'll be the end of this set. And yeah, so another 4 set. A lot of really, really tough games, and tough leads, but we managed to pull out at least 3 wins in every single set. So yeah, honestly, really solid team. I like this one a lot. A lot of meta Pokemon and a little bit of spice. And that's, I think, perfect for Great League. You got to keep a little bit of unpredictability in there. You got to make sure people don't know the Empoleon matchups and stuff like that. But anyways, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments or anything like that. And I'll leave my socials in the description, as always. Thanks for watching, guys.